Assalamualaikum and very good day. Now we continue our monitoring and control chapter with the subtopic of meetings. So, method of delivery reports could be by hand, by normal mail or email, or by meetings. Okay, so meeting is one of the delivery method. So, why people hate meetings? What are the relation of project manager in ensuring people to love meetings? We hate meetings because sometimes meeting deviates from the core subject that is planned to be discussed. Okay, so this is why people hate meetings. Okay, biggest issue is that sometimes that I think that is the biggest issue. Okay, and then the number of hours meeting took place are quite big. So this sometimes people perceive it as wasting of their time if there's no resolution can be achieved during the meeting. Okay, so this is problem with meetings and the guidelines. Some meetings, such as the weekly progress report, also known as show and tell, should rarely be held at all. Although not always possible, try to hold meetings only for making group decision or generating input among meeting members for dealing with important problems or opportunities. That is, hold meetings to take advantage of face-to-face interaction when no other approach or technology is an adequate substitute. Okay, problems with meetings and the guidelines. Distribute written agenda in advance of meetings. The lead time for distributing the agenda should be sufficient to allow attendees to prepare to deal with agenda items. In addition to a list of the issues that will come before the group, the agenda should announce the meeting's preset starting and stopping time, and try to stick with both. Okay? And then don't wander off the agenda. Don't let the meeting run into overtime. And especially do not penalize those who show up on time by making them wait for those who are late. Obviously, in the case of meetings called to deal with emergency, feel free to disregard the advice in this section. Next, still problem with meetings and the guidelines. If a crisis arises, and a meeting is deemed necessary to deal with it, make sure the meeting is restricted to that issue. If a stopping time cannot be predetermined, an acceptable alternative is when the crisis is resolved. If homework needs to be done before the meeting by the attendees, check to be sure they will be prepared, and above all, make sure you are prepared. If you chair the meeting, you should take your own minutes. These minutes should contain a final set of action items, including what is to be done, by whom, and by when. When minutes are a critically important piece of documentation for a project, documenting important decisions and responsibility. Do not delegate this responsible. Avoid attributing remarks to individuals in the minutes. Remarks are meant to foster group process, not to be documented for eternity and for all to see. Obviously, this doesn't apply to designated or volunteered responsibilities. As well, do not record and report votes taken in the meeting. When the group has made a decision, by whatever means, that decision becomes the unanimous position of the group. Disagreement and debate are appropriate during the meeting, not after the decision is made. Okay, so next we look into virtual meetings, reports, and project. So virtual meetings, reports, and project. Virtual meeting normally is a commonplace now, especially during the COVID time. Okay, so it's actually a multi-way voice and data communication. Okay, multi-persons are possible. Nowadays, we have so many software that allow multi virtual meetings. Okay, virtual meetings for multi-person. As for Zoom and WebEx, sometimes more than 100 people can get into the meeting room. Okay. So, some of the software of the programs or electronic work groups or web page. Okay. Software programs such as Microsoft Project Server let us utilize organization's local area network or intranet so we can access our documents through the internet. Okay. Electronic work groups can be set up to monitor task completion, resource usage, and to provide reports to a group of individuals. This is like a virtual or remote working group. Web page normally hold report or information for project managers to share them with other people that involved in the project. Okay. So virtual meeting reports and project management advantages. Okay, it greatly enhances the project manager's ability to manage a project such as video conferencing, video meeting, virtual reporting. We saw it we saw it so frequently nowadays in the COVID-19 area. Okay, users do not need access to a resident copy of the software. Internet provide information such as building codes, technical aid, database, pattern information, expert contacts. Valuable real-time reports can be prepared without lengthy phone conversation or costly on-site meetings. Okay, these are the advantages. Turn off the Century. More effective and timely use of project information for planning, monitoring, communicating, and also controlling. Okay. Now, let us go into one of the important part in techniques for monitoring and controlling. And this is very important in your subject. You should really understand this. This is technique this is earned value analysis. Or sometimes we also use some of the technique for the controlling and monitoring called critical ratio. Okay, but we'll look into detail for earned value analysis. Okay, you can see here. Okay, the green color is the earned value. Value or cost of what you have accomplished to date per the base plan. Okay, so the blue one is the plan value. Okay, what you schedule, your schedule call for spending on the task plan to be completed. Okay, this is a budgeted plan. Okay, so the actual red color is the actual cost for what you have actually spent to this point of time as of today. So this chart is the cost time chart and it is called an earned value analysis chart. So we look into more into earned value analysis. Why? What is earned value? Common problem is compare with actual expenditure against plan, which is baseline or budget, is equals to fails to consider the actual project progress. Okay. If expenditure less than expected, it is good or bad. It depends on progress within the schedule. Expenditure greater than expected. Is it acceptable? Only if progress greater than plan. Okay. The earned value of a task or a project is the budgeted cost of the work actually performed. Okay. You'll have more understanding in the following slide. Okay, so earned value is an objective measurement of how much work has been accomplished on a project. Okay. So the earned value is actually a summation of budgeted cost of the task times the percentage of the completion of the task. Okay, this process is more difficult than it might sound. Okay, the budgeted cost is clear, but the percentage of completion is not clear. That is the difficult or complex task. Okay, for example, the major cost for a task might be for machinery to do the task, a cost that will be incurred before any progress is made on the task. Okay, or perhaps the major cost will not be charged until completion of the task. So it is not clear how the cost will be incurred in certain project. It might be before the task is being done, or it might be after all the project has been done. So this might give some gray area on how to calculate the earned value, especially on how to estimate the percentage of completion of the task. To the best of our knowledge, there is no satisfactory way to measure accurately the percentage of completion of most tasks, let alone to measure accurately the percent of completion of an entire project. So, earned value analysis methods for estimating percent completion. So, there are few methods to estimate percentage of completion. There is a 50-50 estimate, 0 to 100% rule, proportional rule, and critical input rule. So, we'll see the 50-50% estimate. 50% is assumed when task is begun, and the remaining 50% is when work completed. Okay, the 0 to 100% rule. This rule allows no credit for work until task is completed. Highly conservative rule. Project always seem late until the very end of project when everything appears to suddenly catch up. Okay, so 100% estimation is only done at the end of the project. Proportional rule. This rule divides planned or actual time to date by total schedule time, or by budgeted or actual cost to date by total budget cost to calculate percent complete. This is commonly used rule. Critical input rule. This rule assigns progress according to amount of critical input that has been used. Labor or skill dependent machine critical input by machine complete task may be missed. But this type of critical input rule may be misinformation. May be misinformed. Okay. So earned value analysis. Okay. Refer to earned value chart, normally referred to earned value chart, basis for evaluating cost and performance to date if total value of the work accomplished is in balance with the plan or baseline cost and actual cost, then top management has no particular need for a detailed analysis of individual tasks. Okay? Earned value concept combines cost reporting and aggregate performance reporting into one comprehensive chart. Okay, so sometimes detail of the analysis task is not needed when we can have a balanced performance between the budgeted and actual cost. Okay, now let us see the chart, the earned value chart. Okay, so we can see here the cost again times. Okay, cost again times. Okay, baseline cost to complete baseline cost to completion is referred to as budget at completion here. Budget at BAC is budget at completion, which is the baseline cost to completion. Actual cost to date, EAC, is referred to as estimated cost at completion. Okay, the line actual cost, okay, is projected up until the project completion. So that is why it is referred to as estimated cost at completion. Okay, based on the actual cost line. Okay, now let us look at the BCWP. Okay, BCWP is budgeted cost of work performed. Okay, ACWP is actual cost work performed. Actual cost of work performed. Okay, next is BCWS. BCWS is budgeted cost of work we schedule to perform to date. Okay, this is on the budgeted line. Okay, STWP here is the time schedule for work performed. Okay, time schedule for work performed. ATWP here is actual time work performed. So what do we get from this earned value chart? We identify several variances according to the two guidelines. A negative variant, which is bad, cost and schedule variance are calculated as earned value minus some other measures. We'll look in detail later. So we can have here time variance and also we can have schedule variance. This is two important variance that is calculated from earned value chart. Okay. So look into detail of the cost variant, schedule variance, and time variant. So cost variant is the difference between BCWP and also the ACWP. Okay, BCWP and also the ACWP. So this is what we call cost variant or spending variant. Okay. So next, the schedule variance is the difference between the BCWP and BCWS. So we have a schedule variant here is between the BCWP and also the BCWS. Okay, so time variant is between the STWP and also the ATWP. Okay, so this is three variances, okay, that we have in earned value variance analysis. So the earned value analysis variances formula: cost variance, schedule variance, and also time variance. We also need to calculate the three index. Okay, cost performance index, where the BCWP is divided with the ACWP. Schedule performance index is the BCWP divided by BCWS. Time performance index is STWP divided with ATWP. Okay, so you need to really master your earned value chart to identify all the acronyms that we have in our formula. Okay, so we do some example. Okay, suppose that work on a project task was expected to cost $1,500 to complete the task, and the workers were originally scheduled to have finished today. Okay, it's supposed to be finished today. But as of today, however, the workers have actually expended 1,350, and our best estimate is that they are about 2/3 finished only. Okay, therefore, our calculation is as follows. For the cost variant, BCWP minus ACWP 1,500, since it's not finished, we need to cut time with the percentage of finish, 2/3, and then we minus with the cost spent, okay, with the budget or money spent. So the negative, we've got a negative cost variance. This is a bad variance, okay. And then schedule variance, BCWP minus BCWS 1,500 times 2/3 the work finish, and BCWS 1,500, the cost that we schedule to have is equals to minus 500. Okay, so it's again negative. Okay, so then we calculate the indexes. Okay, CPI is the cost performance index and SPI is the schedule performance index. Okay, so the cost performance index, we remember to calculate or to times with the percentage finish before you divide with the ACWP and also BCWS. Thus, from here, we can say that we're spending more than the baseline plan indicates, and given what we have spent, we have not made as much progress as we should have. So we are lagging in the schedule and we spend more than we should be. Okay, so this is 6 possibility earned value analysis. Possible to have one of indicators to be favorable while the other unfavorable. Might be ahead of schedule and behind cost. Okay, so we have a positive schedule variance and positive cost variance when the baseline is in between B, CWP and also ACWP. Okay, and so on. You can see from the figure 10.7. Sorry, yes, 10.8. Okay, example of possible different scenario. Okay, whereby we have the actual cost, earned value, and planned cost. Okay, PV or planned value. Positive schedule variance and negative spending variance. Okay, this is a type of positive SV and negative spending variance. Okay, the following. Okay, so this is an exercise and I need you to do this exercise and I will give you the solution later when you finish the exercise. A project to develop a country park has an actual cost in month 17 of $350,000, a planned cost of $475,000 USD, and a value completed of 300,000. Find the cost and schedule variances and the three indexes. Okay, so you are not given with the percentage of completion, but you can calculate the percentage of completion first before you start to calculate all the needed variances and indexes. Okay, so project control. Now we go into the final element, which is the project control. The definition is the control is the act of reducing differences between plan and actual. It is the final element in the planning, monitoring, controlling cycle. After we plan, we monitor, we feed the data, and we do data analysis. We use the data analysis to control the project, okay, to minimize the difference between the plan and the actual or the final result. Okay, the fact is that monitoring and comparing activities with plan and reporting this finding is to know available if actions are not taken when reality deviates significantly from what was planned. In fact, the simple act of nothing and reporting discrepancy may motivate the actions required to correct the deviations. Okay. So why controlling is difficult? Controlling is difficult when it involves human behavior. For example, when the project involves friends and families. How do you correct friends or families? Okay, without hurting their feeling, for example. Another one is problems are rarely a clear cut. So the need for change and redirection, sorry, the need for change and redirection is also fuzzy. In fact, most discrepancy uncovered by a monitoring system turn out to be mess. Okay, the third one is identification of the real problem is difficult. Determining what to control raises further difficulties. Okay, why controlling is another reason why controlling is difficult. Control is one of the project manager most difficult tasks, invariable involving both mechanistic and human elements. Sometimes humans through action or inaction set in motion a chain of events that eventually results in a discrepancy between actual and plan. Sometimes events occurs that affect people in a negative way, leading to undesirable discrepancy. Okay? Anger, frustration, irritation, helplessness, apathy, despair, and many other emotions normally rose during the course of a normal project and affect the activities of the project team members who experience them. It is over this welter of confusion, emotion, inertia, fallibility, and general carelessness that the PM tries to intervene and exert control. And it's very difficult if you try to do that as a PM. Purpose of control primarily is to ensure the project in compliance with its objective and to apply control in organizational asset. Okay, and ownership in organizational assets. Okay, the regulation of results through the alteration of activities. Okay, what are organization asset? Physical, financial, and also human. Net purpose of control of the organization assets. Physical assets control concern with the maintenance and the use of the project's physical asset. The stewardship of human resources involve controlling and maintaining the growth and development of a project team. Financial control involve ownership of the organization's expenditures or controlling the organization expenditures on the project, including both conservation of financial resources and regulation of resource use. So this is what we control: physical, steward human resources, controlling human resources, and financial control. So the summary of project control is the final activity in the planning and monitoring control cycle. Okay. Involve taking action when the actual is deviates from the plan. Okay. It includes both mechanistic and human element. It is a very difficult task, but PM has to have that control in the organizations and also clients' physical, human, and financial assets. The use of this asset is to bring project actuality into conformance with the plan. Okay, so that we meet our three important elements: cost, time, and also scope. Okay, now we look into designing the control system. What should be in mind when we design a control system? First, we need to remember the purpose of the control. It is to correct the error, not to identify and punish the guilty. Okay, it is to correct the error. Two, it should employ the lowest degree of hassle consistent with accomplishing its goal. Okay, it shouldn't be too complicated. Third, it should be cost effective. It shouldn't take a lots of money to have this control system in place. Okay. Right. Mechanism, project manager exert control. There are three prime mechanisms by which the project manager exert control. First is the process review. Next is the personnel assignment, and the final one is the resource allocation. Okay. Common mistake by project manager and other organizational managers make when trying to control project. For example, when controlling process, there is the danger of emphasizing short-run results at the expense of long-run objectives. Excessive control directed to specific objective can result in sacrificing other project objective. So we focus on one short run results. Okay, that's not good. Okay, across the board cuts in resource allocations tend to reward those who have already overspent or overhired while penalizing the fragile and efficient. For example, we are overspending, so we try to cut our costs on other things. So this is not good also. Okay. Finally, focusing on certain items for control can distract the attention of team members from other equally important items. Okay. For example, we only focus on doing the programming or software part while leaving the hardware part behind. It's not good also. Okay. Types of control system: a go, no go control or a post control. Okay. The go or no go control takes the form of tests to determine if some specific precondition has been met before permission is granted to continue. Okay. Post control, also known as post performance review. Okay. So there are advantages and also disadvantages you can see here. Okay. Components in control system in which every project or production system require these components. First, they have The control must have sensor. The duty is which to measure any aspect of the project's output that one wishes to control. For instance, it must be able to measure the length of the yardstick we mentioned earlier. Two, the control system must have a standard, okay, for things to be measured. Okay. Next, the control system needs a comparator, okay, to compare the output from the sensor. Okay, when given the result of the comparison, the control system need a decision maker. It's like a flow here, okay, to decide whether to continue the difference between the measured and the standard is large enough for attention, okay, or we can continue with our project without doing a corrective measure. Okay, so the decision needs to be made. The final piece required in a control system is an effector. Okay, if the decision maker decide that some action is required to reduce the difference between what the sensor measure and the standard requires, the effector must take some action. It may operate on the input of the processes or both to fix the problem. Okay, this is the feedback loop, okay, to control in a control system. This is some sample of milestone status report. The completed, work in progress, not started yet, have resources, not started but need resources. Okay, so these are the example of milestone report. With that, thank you, and I need you to send me also this when I give you the due date. Okay, thank you so much for your attention.